If Las Vegas were a movie, the Flamingo would be the highlight, the place where all legends began. But now, the chapter seems to be closing. The final scene has been filmed, only there's no happy ending. Flamingo is not just a hotel. It is a symbol of the golden age, when gamblers, artists, and even mafia bosses came together to create a sanctuary for luxurious and sinful dreams. Since the 1940s, the neon pink glow of the Flamingo has illuminated an entire era, a time when Vegas was wilder, more daring, and more human than ever before. However, that era has officially come to an end. When the Flamingo, the ultimate symbol of old Vegas, announced a complete overhaul of its operations, many understood that this was not just a transformation, but a farewell. Another domino has fallen, and the chain reaction hasn't stopped yet. In today's video, join us as we return to where all the legends began, to witness how Flamingo marks the end of a Las Vegas we may never see again. If Las Vegas is likened to a magnificent castle, then the Flamingo is the first brick laid to build that dream. Opened in 1946, the Flamingo Las Vegas is not just a hotel, but an icon of old Vegas, an era when the American dream still felt within reach. There, ordinary workers, middle-class families, and couples who saved all year could also step into the casino and enjoy the Vegas lights without spending hundreds of dollars each night. For decades, Flamingo was considered the model of Vegas for everyone. The hotel has 105 rooms, simply designed but comfortable, suitable for budget travelers. The casino is over 6,700 square meters, with small betting tables, accessible games, and affordable prices. Dozens of travel magazines call this the most authentically Vegas place. It's both cheap and friendly. The room prices at Flamingo are only 40–60% of those at the luxury resorts next door. They still say, want to experience the Vegas dream without mortgaging your future? Let's go to Flamingo. But then, as Las Vegas entered the era of luxury Vegas, where everything had to be luxurious, expensive, and polished by Michelin brands, the Flamingo began to lose its very soul. Renovations worth tens of millions of dollars, such as the $20 million Go Pool project with a 30-seat swim-up bar and VIP area, or the $90 million plan to upgrade 270 rooms, seemed poised to bring the Flamingo back to its glory days. But in reality, it was a closed door for the middle class, the former heart of Vegas. While the pool area and hotel facilities are lavishly promoted, the most basic amenities for guests are unbelievably run down. A tourist recounted her experience of why she will never stay at the Flamingo again. She described the air conditioning not working, the bathroom lights flickering, and the electrical outlets being broken. When she tried plugging the curling iron into a different outlet, an electric shock startled her, even though she was a heart patient who had to carry a pacemaker. There was no cell phone signal, no Wi-Fi. She had to go outside the hotel to call the doctor.
So that's concerning to me. So I ended up, giving my doctor a ring, but I had to go downstairs to do that and go outside because I have no internet connection.
And that's not all. When she stayed an extra night, which should have cost $56.6, they charged $171, pushing the total amount up to nearly $400 instead of $186.98. So when did you file your complaint? They just said, "Oops, sorry," and then made her wait 10 days for a refund. That story is no longer an isolated incident. From Reddit to Facebook, hundreds of accounts emerged as a collective indictment. Weak Wi-Fi, dirty rooms, double billing, and irresponsible service. Some people were charged $911.99 for a room advertised as free. Once isolated incidents, they are now a chain of evidence of systemic degradation. A brand once considered the pride of old Vegas is now being described by its most loyal customers with 2 words: betrayal. From a land of promise with affordable prices, Flamingo is no longer a place where the middle class dreams. Now, that's where they go to realize that dream has been sold off, along with the very soul of old Vegas. If an icon once created to serve the common people now turns its back on them, is there any place left on the strip that belongs to the middle class? Because the fall of a symbol doesn't stop at its walls. It spread outward, like a silent aftershock breaking the foundations of the entire city. And it was from here that Flamingo's crisis would become more than just the story of a hotel. It was the starting point for a nightmare layered upon crisis. The shaking of the tourism industry is not only rocking Las Vegas, it's tearing apart the deepest layers of the local economic system. For Flamingo, this wound isn't just a few numbers on a financial report, it's a double crisis. On one hand, the collapse of tourist confidence, and on the other, the heavy financial pressure from its parent company, Caesars Entertainment. In the second quarter of 2025, Caesars' revenue in Las Vegas decreased by 3.7% compared to the same period last year. A seemingly small number, but for a corporation that was once a legendary symbol of the Vegas empire, it meant tens of millions of dollars evaporated in just 3 months. Room occupancy rates also fell by nearly 2 percentage points, equivalent to approximately 27,000 vacant room nights, a stark picture of a Las Vegas that is increasingly losing its appeal. The fatal blow came on September 22, 2025, when Caesars Entertainment was officially removed from the S&P 500 index. This is not just a loss of honor. Being excluded from the Club of America's 500 largest companies is a cold verdict that Caesars is no longer a symbol of stability. It has become smaller, weaker, and is no longer among the most reliable businesses in the market. The consequences were immediate. A series of passive investment funds, which are only allowed to hold stocks in the S&P 500 list, had to sell off their shares of Caesars. Selling pressure spread like a domino effect. In just a few months, Caesars' stock price has fallen by over 30%, and over the past 2 years, that figure exceeds 50%. A free fall isn't just about finances, it's also about reputation. Meanwhile, the $12.3 billion debt burden continues to weigh heavily on the group. Caesars had to sell off assets, from the World Series of Poker event series to the Link Promenade shopping district, symbols once synonymous with Vegas's vibrant image. But those deals were just like small ice packs on a gangrenous wound, an outdated business model that relied too heavily on luxury spending while the middle class, the traditional source of customers, was shrinking. The clearest manifestation of that crisis is the silent series of closures happening right in the heart of Las Vegas. In September 2025, Carlos and Charlie's restaurant in the Flamingo area announced its closure and the layoff of 79 employees due to the need to restructure the rental space. A seemingly ordinary restaurant, yet it is the final link in the chain of the visitor experience supply chain. When a restaurant closes, it's not just a job loss, it's a piece of the old Vegas soul being erased from the map. From Flamingo to Caesars, from empty rooms to falling stocks, from laid-off employees to dwindling tourists, Vegas is facing a perfect storm. A crisis of confidence, a crisis of brand, and a crisis of survival model. Ultimately, those numbers are not just statistics. They are the first signs of a period of decline in business ethics, where corporations choose to sell out the future to maintain immediate profits. Can Flamingo and Caesars survive on the very values they themselves have buried? Or is this just the prelude to a larger crisis, where the light of Vegas is slowly being consumed by its own glitter? There's a paradox unfolding amidst the dazzling lights of Las Vegas. The city, once built to serve everyone, now only shines for a select few. On the surface, Vegas is more dazzling than ever. Taller new towers, sleeker resorts, and casinos equipped with cutting-edge technology and sound. But behind that opulent door is a Las Vegas that has lost its soul. A soul once associated with the working class, with intimacy, and with the American middle-class dream. When the Flamingo opened in 1946, it was considered a symbol of Vegas for everyone. A place where a mechanic from Detroit or an office worker from Ohio could step in and feel like they belonged. But Vegas is different today. The middle class, once the engine of American tourism, is being sidelined. The new resorts no longer sell the Vegas experience, but rather Vegas class. Each step forward for the city, hailed as elevating the experience, also means another group of people is excluded from the game. According to 2025 tourism data, the number of budget travelers has decreased significantly, while the group of travelers spending over $1,000 per night has increased sharply. A series of resorts like Fontainebleau, Wynn and Resorts World are launching exclusive-only packages, forcing older hotels like the Flamingo to keep up with the trend, meaning they're raising prices, reducing basic services, and cutting out what once made Vegas accessible. The shift toward the high-end segment not only changed the customer base, but also altered the city's very DNA. Large corporate chains no longer see Las Vegas as a place, but as a financial asset. Decisions are no longer based on visitor sentiment, but on profit charts. Casinos are no longer spaces for connection, but systems for collecting spending data. Hotels no longer serve guests, but categorize them. Even a small upgrade, like changing door latches, adding a VIP area, or introducing a new cocktail, is calculated to maximize guest stay time and spending. While corporations claim to be improving the user experience, a wave of service workers, the very people who make Vegas warm, are losing their jobs, having their hours cut, or receiving wages that are not enough to live on. Vegas is no longer the city of opportunity. It has become the city of contracts and profit margins. Progress. But progress for whom? Today's Vegas may be more luxurious, but it's also become more alienating. A place once built by the hands of workers now operates to serve investors. The values that once defined old Vegas, opportunity, camaraderie, and dreams, are now just a footnote in marketing campaigns. And that is the cruel paradox of this era. The more Vegas chases class, the more it loses its identity. The more it invests in the future, the further it moves away from the people who created its glorious past. Perhaps the answer isn't in recreating a new Vegas, but in restoring a more human Vegas, where big brands like Caesars, MGM, or Wynn must remember that true value doesn't come from VIP rooms, but from the people who clean, serve, and believe in this city every day. And if progress means eliminating everything that once made Vegas special, can it still be called progress? If you only see Vegas from a tourist perspective, you'd think the place is still doing well. The lights are still on, the billboards are still promising class, complete experience, and Vegas has never been better. But stepping out behind those doors, just a few blocks past the Strip, is a different city. The Las Vegas of the locals, where the crisis is no longer a number, but everyday life. This is a Vegas that doesn't appear in travel brochures. There, those who once operated the entire tourism machine, housekeeping staff, taxi drivers, chefs, stage technicians, are now struggling to get by day. When tourism declines, even jobs considered most stable become precarious. A 2025 Clark County statistic shows that nearly 1 to 5 of service industry workers have to work a second job, and nearly 10% have fallen behind on their mortgage or rent payments. While Flamingo and other resorts try to polish their image with tens of millions of dollar projects, the surrounding residential areas are increasingly deteriorating. The boarding houses that were once packed with tourism workers are now displaying for rent signs en masse. Many small restaurants, laundries, and local cafes, places that depend on the flow of tourists, are closing one by one. A resident of the Paradise area told a local channel, "We live in the shadow of Vegas, but that light never reaches here." Housing prices in this area have increased by nearly 40% in just 5 years, while service industry wages have barely budged. The average 2-bedroom apartment in Vegas now costs $1,700 or $900 per month, far beyond the affordability of workers who once saw Vegas as the promised land. Results: more and more people are choosing to live in RVs, temporary shelters, or share cramped rooms, creating hidden communities behind luxury resorts. At Flamingo, many part-time employees have had their hours cut or been switched to short-term contracts. The faces that once smiled to greet guests now wear a worried look. If the hotel has no guests, we don't have working hours. If we don't have working hours, we'll lose our homes, said a sanitation worker. It's an invisible loop. Tourism declines, income decreases, local people leave, services are weak, fewer tourists. This situation is not only happening at Flamingo. Many areas around the Strip, from Paradise to Winchester, are seeing a sharp increase in interstate migration. People are leaving Vegas to find more stable jobs in Arizona or Utah. But they weren't just carrying luggage. They were carrying lost faith in a city once built on the promise of opportunity for all. For ultimately, a city cannot be saved by light if those who once illuminated it no longer have the strength to remain. If a few years ago Flamingo was a familiar stop for middle-class tourists, now many say they only need to go once and never return. The change didn't come from one major event, but from countless small details. Details that once made up the soul of a hotel, but now cause people to leave. An internal survey within the tourism industry in 2025 showed that the satisfaction level of guests staying at the Flamingo decreased by over 20% compared to the previous year, which was the steepest decline among mid-range hotels on the Strip. Complaints are becoming increasingly frequent. Old rooms, poor service, lack of staff, and room prices no longer reflect the quality. On travel forums like TripAdvisor and Reddit, hundreds of posts repeat a common theme. I used to love Flamingo, but not anymore. Many people describe their experience as being in a tired museum, where everything still bears its old name, but the spirit has vanished. Check-in took hours, the electrical and water systems were unreliable, the air conditioning was broken, and room service didn't arrive. One visitor shared, "You can pay $0 a night just to be met with indifference. The Flamingo is no longer Vegas. It's Vegas that has abandoned itself." That loss doesn't just come from service errors. It comes from the gap between expectation and reality. When Caesars Entertainment promoted Flamingo as an icon of old Vegas reborn, many believed they would revive the classic, friendly, and warm atmosphere of the past. But what they got was a version edited to suit the luxury market. More VIP areas, more restricted zones, and more hidden fees. According to the Nevada Tourism Report, the number of repeat visitors to the Flamingo has decreased by nearly 15% in the past 2 years, while neighboring hotels like the Link and Paris Las Vegas have remained stable. This shows that tourists are not only leaving because of the prices, they are leaving because they no longer feel welcome. And when trust is eroded, all promotional campaigns become meaningless. Yet the paradox is, while tourists are leaving, Caesars continues to raise prices, cut staff, and pour money into luxury decoration items. They improve the image, but not the experience. And that was the mistake that widened the gap between mass tourism and luxury tourism, leaving Flamingo in a precarious position. Not luxurious enough to attract the wealthy, nor sincere enough to retain the middle class. If Caesars truly wants to save the Flamingo, a Vegas icon for nearly 80 years, perhaps they should start not by building more bars or VIP pools, but by restoring the most fundamental thing, trust and respect for their customers. Those simple things, when you think about it, are what truly make a brand, not neon lights or gold-plated walls. Because if even the most loyal tourists turn away, who will be left to witness the final lights of the Flamingo go out? From Flamingo, the first domino fell. And as with every chain reaction in the history of Las Vegas, one falling brick brought down the entire castle. But the scariest thing is, this time, it's not just a hotel crisis, but a sign of a system silently crumbling piece by piece. Look at the chain reaction spreading across the city. As budget travelers left Flamingo, other mid-range resorts suffered the same fate. Many travel reports note that the average occupancy rate for 3-star hotel groups in Vegas decreased by nearly 6% in 2025, while the 5-star group remained almost unchanged. That means the Vegas market is gradually losing its middle class, the core demographic that helped the city overcome all previous crises. When mid-range rooms are empty, ancillary revenue from restaurants, bars, casinos, and local services also declines. A travel expert says, Vegas is becoming like Dubai, luxurious, isolated, and disconnected from real people. What was once the entertainment capital of America is now slowly becoming a virtual stage for those who can afford to enter. The second domino effect comes from the labor aspect. When the number of guests decreases, hotels cut staff. According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the hospitality industry in Clark County lost approximately 6,500 jobs in the first half of 2025 alone. The number may seem small compared to the total population, but each job lost means a family falls into uncertainty. And when jobs are precarious, local consumption decreases, leading to a series of small businesses closing down. The third domino effect comes from a crisis of confidence. When tourists feel cheated, whether by hidden resort fees, poor service, or unreasonable prices, they don't just leave a hotel, they leave Vegas altogether. A report by Travel Pulse states that the percentage of visitors returning to Las Vegas for a second time in 2025 is down 18% compared to pre-pandemic levels. And with each person who leaves, the city loses not only revenue, but also its image, a brand that was once built on trust and memories. But perhaps the deepest domino effect is cultural. When Flamingo, a symbol of friendliness, affordability, and approachability, chose to go upscale, it created a psychological effect throughout the entire system. Every other hotel also began to upgrade to avoid being seen as outdated. The result? A city once defined by its diversity has become a copy of itself, expensive, cold, and homogeneous. Perhaps Caesars, MGM, or Wynn will try to save themselves by opening new areas, rebranding, or investing in major events. But if they don't look back at the core, who still has the means and the reason to come to Vegas, then any marketing campaign will just be a band-aid on a concrete crack. Because if the first dominoes like Flamingo fell, who could say for sure that the last one wouldn't be all of Las Vegas itself? And if a city once built on the faith and aspirations of the working class now survives only on luxury contracts, will that light still be bright enough to illuminate anyone? Or will it only reflect the emptiness within its own soul? And perhaps Flamingo not only marked the end of old Vegas, but also served as a warning to the entire city. When the first symbols fell, the rest was just a matter of time. The neon lights still glow brightly, but that light now seems to shine on an empty stage, where the American middle-class dream no longer has a role to play. The dominoes are still falling, silently, sequentially, and irreversibly. Perhaps Vegas will revive again, as it has done in the past. But if this time the resurrection doesn't come from humans, but from numbers, then what will be brought back to life will no longer be the city of dreams, but a cold replica of a lost memory. Can Las Vegas find its soul again before the final domino falls? Or are we witnessing the final chapter of a dream that once made the whole world believe that in America, everyone has the opportunity to shine? If you feel this touches a part of your own memories or beliefs, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together to explore what lies behind the light, where Vegas, the United States, and even our dreams are changing every day. The content in this video is based on public sources, statistical data, visitor experiences, and industry reports, with the aim of social analysis, reflection, and commentary, and is not intended to be absolute or to accuse any individual or organization. All the data and information mentioned, if not fully verified, are presented as estimates or compiled from multiple sources to provide viewers with a more comprehensive and objective overview of the changes taking place in Las Vegas. The video does not represent the official views of any company, corporation, or agency. The sole objective is to provoke reflection on values, people, and the future of places once considered symbols of the American dream. If you find this story thought-provoking, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to explore the hidden corners behind the Vegas lights, where America's past, present, and future quietly intersect.